Hey there, it's Chris, and welcome back to the Kai Shulin project, where last time we made a face. And between sessions, I kind of fixed it up a little bit, kind of smoothed things out, and hardened it. So now can we hear tap tap? We have tap tap. We have ourselves a good face. So, again, even though I'm not doing it on camera, the way I do this type of thing is when I set it up here, I set it so it's kind of sitting upwards. Whoop. I kind of make a little platform for it to sit on. So when it heats up, the air can get all the way around it on every side. And that was that. That said, I wasn't too sure. I think I did a little overworking at the end of the last session. I wasn't sure about when I put on the eyebrows and the eyeliner parts on here. I thought it looked... I took something that was decent and kind of put a little much to it, but really after the last session ended and I came back to it the next day and kind of really attacked this thing to kind of smooth everything out and get it nice and neat and good and ready for hardening, it actually kind of came into its own, which I'm feeling good with. It has that kind of feminine quality to it, which is I'm feeling really happy about. And the brow isn't huge like it was on the bang one, so I think this is gonna work out in the end. I think we're gonna be okay. So with this, face is good. So this time we're gonna focus on getting the head behind it, get the neck down so we can attach it in here, put the ears on, and then we'll see if I have time after that, which I should. I have a couple little odds and ends I might do on camera here, just so that next time when we come back, we can then start working on the main event we've been building towards of that the camouflage poncho, whatever thing that she has. But first, we need to put the back of the head on here. So once again, we don't really need much of the model for the immediate time being, but we're gonna get back to it. So let's see. Now, ordinarily, I would think it's super important to kind of glue this too, but it's not really as. If I wanted to, I could just smash this stuff on, and just by friction and wailing it in here, because there's nothing that's breakable on this head, so I can put as much pressure as I want. So I could just physically force this stuff on. However, we have the glue, so I'm just going to put a little bit back here just so we can have... Although I can smash it on there, we don't need to smash it on there. I was also laughing about putting all the kind of, like I said, the eyeliner and the eyebrows and all that in the end. Because figure at the end of all this as well, she has the hat, which means there's going to be, the brim of the hat is going to be coming out to something like this. And you're not going to see much of that detail in the end anyway. So, yeah, there's that. So, okay, so hopefully, I might be slightly unfortunate on this. I want to have some fresh clay somewhere down in this range, so when I put the ears on, they can at least hook onto fresh clay rather than the old stuff. That would be super helpful for that portion. But otherwise, main thing to keep in mind when doing the back of the head is it's generally bigger than you think it is. However far back you think the head usually goes, it actually goes back just a little bit further. So this is going to take a little bit of layering. Usually if it's like me, I wind up with like this kind of alien head that goes in the back that I have to actually shrink it a little again afterwards. But we'll see. This is going to be another one of those going to be adding clay, and then all of a sudden it's going to look good. But at the same time, it's not that big a space. So this in the end shouldn't take too long to do. I'm not as worried about adding to the top of the head. I know that the top of the head is not correct, but I'm going to be building the hat and hair separately, and so I need to give them space to be their own thing as well. So I'm going to add maybe a little bit to the top here, but by and large, the top of her head is not going to look right at the end of this, only because, yeah, in the end there will be a hat, there will be hair, there will be other stuff that needs to go up there, and it just needs room to operate. because I don't want those things to be built super thin up top either. I want to give them a little bit of depth, a little bit of structure to work with so they don't kind of crumble when you touch it. So it's not going to look 100%. So all I'm trying to say is this, be warned, this isn't going to look 100% after this, but it will look better. And having a model with an actual head on it is also going to look better. Head and face. We had the head on it the last session, but didn't have the face to go with it. And thankfully, because she has this turtleneck here, really don't have that much to do on the neck side of things, as opposed to Bang. He needed all those neck muscles and stuff to kind of be, to read well. He had to look strong, have muscle structure and all that. And hers, nope. Her neck is pretty much hidden almost entirely. So don't need to worry super much about that, which I guess is a good thing. If only because it means I have less stuff that I have to think about and or do. Thank goodness, less work. But reality is I feel like now we've been on the project for a while, and I am looking forward to each kind of step we go now is like that much closer to the end of this. And I am starting to get giddy as to what this is going to look like in the end once all is said and done. Because really, once this head is on, I mean, the character itself, other than that hat and hair, I mean, it's done. The camo stuff, that just kind of goes on top. That's extra detailing, like these ammo things on the side, which I keep putting off forever. Those just kind of little extra detaily things. I mean, once her head is on here, I mean, her character's, it's kind of locked in. I mean, we are not too far off from not being able to say done, but just, yeah, we have our character. I'm also seeing how long things take when I do 3 sessions a week rather than the 5 sessions a week I was doing with Bang. It does take a little longer, but I think it was worth the experiment of giving the game a try. However, yeah, no, I think probably maybe as I go forward, if I do these things, maybe 4 days a week is maybe the sweet. I think 5 days was a little much, so maybe 4 days a week would be the sweet spot. I can do 2 days during the week and maybe the 2 weekend days, or maybe next model I could do like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, then maybe a Saturday or something. That leaves room to do something else if I want to do something else without really killing myself on time-wise. I don't want to do that either. Burnout is not fun. Haven't hit burnout yet. We're just about that 100 episodes or 100 sessions in. I still haven't had what I'm going to call burnout yet. So, and it's been in what, 4-month period? Started end of May. We're now start of October. So, and still going. Okay, so we have chin kind of coming up a little bit, and then we have the base of the neck kind of starting to go down. And we're just going to kind of do this by feel. I am recording? I am recording. Okay, I don't know why I just thought I wasn't recording. Maybe because my computer, the fan just all of a sudden turned on. It's like, maybe look at the computer. I'm like, wait a minute. What are you trying to do in the background that I'm not aware of? Stop it. Okay. Yeah, for the hands, I'm sorry for little kind of white patches like that and things over here. I was laying tile again today, and that stuff doesn't wash off. The thin set doesn't wash off super easily sometimes, so it just is until it wears off. So, sorry you have to look at that, but it just kind of is. It was nice. It was redoing an entryway to a house. I guess to an apartment within a house. So I guess it's duplex officially. But there's an old brick kind of ground entry area, or at least we thought it was brick until we went to expect to have a day worth of taking it off and getting all the junk out and getting it cleaned up and ready to go for tiling until we went to pull it up and realized it was just vinyl bricks kind of sitting down there. So what was going to take a day, we got done in half an hour, or I got done in half an hour. So now I was at least able to get started on the tiling yesterday, and I was able to finish it today, which is good. That means when I go back, I can just grout it, palp everything back, and done. I like these nice little short, easy projects. I like larger projects too, but every now and again, we've had a couple larger projects going for the last couple years, so we haven't had as many of these kind of little shorter ones thrown in. So when we get them, there's something to be said about just kind of getting into a project, being in, out, done, and it's finished. There is something to be said about that. Especially when you're dealing with the kind of farmhouses that are over 100 years old. They're fun. They're great to work on. Granted, the section we're working on was built, I think, in the 60s, but the overall house itself is significantly older. That's probably at least like 150 years old. It's so much character. There was water damage about a number of years ago. We'd go and redo one of the rooms for, and yet like the old like 10-inch floorboard or 10-inch wide like floorboards and the plaster walls, and it just, everything had so much character. It's not the easiest to work with, but everything just has so much character. It is great. I love those types. Like I said, the portion on right now is an apartment portion, which is kind of tacked on afterwards in the 60s, so it's has a little bit of that 60s charm going. So yeah, there's that. So we're unfortunately getting rid of some of that slightly dated look. It's funny, once you get something that's like over 100 years old, it doesn't feel dated. It's like when you go back to like 60s, 70s, 80s, those things feel dated for some reason. Once you get back old enough, it's awesome. Those things are like charming. I love it. You get kind of stuff that's around when I was born or slightly before, or a couple decades or so before, yeah, it gets a lot more awkward. Not so sure about some of those design decisions, but okay, so we're getting there. We need our neck, our little ET neck going here. That was kind of packing down. I really don't need to go down super much. She already has the neck kind of started here, so I'm probably going to be adding too much neck on this, and I'm going to wind up cutting some afterwards, is what I'm guessing this is going to turn into. And I'm 100% okay with that. Oh, okay. I did not come with a topic to talk about while I do this, so sit and behold, this turns into an ASMR kind of dealie, which is funny because I know what ASMR means. I know how to use the term. I'm just not sure what the acronym literally actually stands for. But I use it all the time to describe stuff. So maybe someday I'll actually learn some of these acronyms and what they actually stand for. That's definitely one of them that I don't have a hard answer for, and I should, because it's used so often by so many people. Okay, we're smoothing out. We can't really see the edge of the line here, but even if we can see the edge, she has all that hair comes down. So I'm not super concerned with that. If we come over to here, yeah, there's going to be all the hair coming down throughout all of this. So I'm not... So it is nice seeing it blend nicely, but even if it doesn't, I don't need to kill myself on that. Okay, I feel like I want the head to come back just a little bit, to kind of come out and then back down to the neck. So that's why I keep kind of adding to the back. And this is part of it. The head is always just kind of keep adding, and then all of a sudden it's going to work. Again, we're still on the flat top side because again, the hat and the hair, I'm going to give them space to operate when I get to that point. Which means also if this thing isn't completely smoothed out anywhere up here, it's not going to matter. But as we do the camouflage stuff, as we do some of the other things, we're going to be staring at this for a couple sessions. So I have no idea how long her camo is going to take. I'm not going to lie. I absolutely do not know. We're going to be starting that real soon. But in terms of having an estimate on what it's going to be, not 100% sure. I think in my mind I put down like 3 hours or 3 sessions for it. But the arm is being dumb right now. I think in my mind I put down like 3 sessions. It might be 2. I might just actually be able to bang it out. No, it's not going to be done in 1. Okay, we're probably within 2 or 3. If I were to guess, we're going to say between 2 or 3. Each size, I think the 2 ammo stuff put together is probably about 3. So let's say that's 6 hours. Getting the back of the head here puts it around 7 hours. Then the hat and hair is probably another 2-ish. That's like 8 or 9 hours. Or yeah, we're probably about 9-ish hours to go on this, and we're finished. Which I'm thinking next week I probably will do 4 sessions next week rather than the 3. Just to kind of speed up the process. So if that's the case, within the next 2 weeks, we should be getting into painting mode, which would be awesome. Kind of looking forward to that. Because that's where everything comes to life. That is where things get exciting now. And I did like a dozen models before I finally got the courage to go and do the painting side. Because I know once you get to painting is either it can elevate a bad model or it can take a really good model and just destroy it. So I was super worried for a long time, just having to take that leap into doing a painting project. But I'm glad I did. I love it. It brings this stuff to life now, and it's great. So I'm looking. Plus, it's kind of almost a no thinking kind of phase. So I can just kind of. It does kind of fit that kind of just do mentality. Just you can turn the brain off, just have a good time. Being a little more relaxed in that. I might want to. I'm going to cut this. I think at this point now we're getting a little high. I think we're getting a little high on this. We're gonna. How about I go that way so I can see what I'm cutting? I don't need to cut too much off, but I do want a little bit of this off, just so if we do stick something on here, it kind of works. Alright, so if come on, hit the button. Okay, so it looks like your head is a little kind of sassy tilt going on, just a little bit. And sassy tilt and kind of down just a little. That is 100% not down at all. We got the sassy tilt going. I think the tilt's just a little too much and we're not going down. Beginning to think it doesn't want that tilt. Okay, that's not too bad. Do we want to be up just a hair? Well, I can see even if we go down all the way, I still need more neck. Still need more neck on you. No matter what, we need more neck on this. So let us keep adding that. Okay, yes, the arm keeps falling off. That's, if we deal with this, I have plans on how to deal with that. I haven't actually hardened the arms yet, and I have an idea how to deal with that situation. So if we can get this and the ears done in a quick enough manner, I would like to get to that. Because yeah, if I harden those things, it's just not gonna work. The arms are gonna keep falling off. I know exactly what's going on with them too, but I gotta finish the main event here first. Gotta do the main stuff before we can do the bonus stuff. Okay, we're getting this in here somewhere. Shoot doo 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 doo. As much fun as it was, as much as I'm glad I finally did finish the game, because it felt like, just kind of going back to last week's discussion, it was just a little too much game. At the same time, I'm now kind of looking for something else to do to kind of fill that time slot. Not necessarily for the channel here, but just for my own stuff. So I should probably find something I can do to kind of feel that need to play something, get something out of the way. I don't know. I did enjoy the strategy game aspect of that. I'm not sure I want to go back to a straight up strategy one again. Or maybe just do like an action type thing just to kind of break things up a little bit before I go back. Because we definitely have some strategy ones in my place right now that I've actually never played before, that others where I live have played, but not me. So I do see we have an ogre battle that I haven't done. That is, I think, for one of the Game Boy ones that I haven't gone through. We have XCOM would be another kind of strategy one I haven't gone through. Like I said, never did finish Path of Radiance. Don't plan on going to that one anytime soon. That one is way too big a game. That one is way. I'm doing everything off camera. Sorry about that. That is just way too big a game. Yeah, maybe it's just different now that, I guess when you're a kid, you have like unlimited free time. You can do whatever you want. So you always like, the longer the thing, the better. You get more content. That's awesome. Maybe now that I'm just getting older, and it's like, all right, time is a little more of a premium. As I say this, as I make models for YouTube, as a free time thing. But maybe now that time is a little more something to deal with. Don't really need these huge epic things that take the 50 to 100 hours. They are good every now and again, just kind of gives you something to plug away at for a couple months on end. And it does kind of fit that kind of, sometimes there is just like a desire to go through something like that. But by and large, don't necessarily need these gigantic things. The game they can be just like 5, 10, 20 hours, somewhere in that range. Anything of those, that's fine. Just kind of get in, out, done. Even like a NES or Super Nintendo kind of game, or you can be done like half-hour kind of deal if you're good. Even those types of things, those are fine. There is nothing wrong with that. All right, I think we're high enough now. As I said, I don't really need the sassy part. Hey, we have a very long neck. Long neck is okay. I can work with a long neck. We do want to bring this down. I kind of want this little part up here to drop pretty much right to the height of that, because right now we have a zebra neck going on. So this is good, because now we can just shrink it a little bit. Kind of getting our ET neck is it's working its way out. I think we're a little thick right now. She must work out. It doesn't help my entire model altogether is kind of tilted over a little bit because the stand isn't drilled 100%. looking like a fairly tall neck. Alright, I figure we're going to have we're going to have ball cap kind of coming on there. We're going to have that kind of going on, so we getting in there. Okay, let's see what we can do about matching one end here to the other. Because again, this is going to be actually a little bit harder, if only because I do have to contend with this, which has already been hardened. So I can't really blend this into anything. But we do need it to match up with what's already there. So this is going to take just a little bit of skill to get this part right. Yeah, that. And I was thinking of the Valkyria Chronicles 4 playthrough as well. And I think one thing it was kind of like in one of those, in retrospect, what it was missing that I think the first game had was didn't really have like that kind of grizzled veteran, didn't really have like an adult kind of character who was there to kind of counterbalance the kind of young nature of all the other kind of soldiers and stuff in your team. There's no real kind of mentor character that, like, say, a Largo from the first game kind of played in as. You like play Final Fantasy X, you have like an Auron kind of character. If you're doing like anime stuff, you have like a Bado from Ghost in the Shell, kind of like this. Somebody who feels like, somebody just kind of feels like they've been around, and when they talk, they have that weight of somebody who's like working from experience. You say like a Ziggy from Xenosaga kind of character. I guess the game didn't really have a character that kind of fit that mold. So kind of going through and just thinking about it, it felt like a kind of a missed opportunity that way. And that, yeah, it didn't, when all of your characters are young, it just kind of felt like something's off on the cast. And I'm thinking that might have been part of what it was. There was no experienced person in the group. Everybody was just kind of new and at this. Meanwhile, the captain of the ship that you're on was kind of functioned more like Sid from Final Fantasy VIII, where he's like the headmaster of your kind of your military group, and he kind of looks over and goes, you know what? I'm done. You just graduated from our group. You're 17 years old. Why don't you lead our military operation? You're like, what? This game kind of had the same kind of feeling. It's like the other guys are in charge, but doesn't really feel like he's in charge. He's just kind of there. Okay, took a little too much off. We're going to have a little give and take. So I think if I were going to do casting stuff on that, yeah, that would have been maybe something I would have looked more for. Then again, I think that's just a character type I enjoy seeing in certain media, so it might not even be a this game thing. I just like that character type, somebody who's you can feel the weight behind what they say. Because it's one thing, I feel like when somebody's in like kind of their teens or 20s and they're saying the right stuff, they're saying like the right motivational things. It's like they're doing all the things you're supposed to do, but it just doesn't feel like it feels like it's coming from a textbook when somebody kind of says things like that. It's like you need that kind of older character to feel like it comes from actual experience when they say the right things or do the right things. So I think as a literary kind of measure on those, just having somebody getting their experience or getting their ideology from experience rather than just like from a book kind of, I don't know, kind of makes it feel more complete, more real in a way. It makes you want to listen to what they say more than somebody who just feels like they're reciting something, even if it is 100% the correct thing to say. It does make a difference. And I was about to rattle off some more characters, and until I realized that basically half the characters I'm thinking of are all voice cast. If I'm doing the anime stuff, they're all voice cast by Richard Epcar. I'm like, well, pretty much anybody who that guy has voiced. kind of falls into that slot for me. Just like I like those types of characters. The mentor ones who you just know they've been around. You kind of want to listen to them. You want to hear what they say. Like the main character, of course, never listens or rarely listens to it. They have to learn things their own hard way. But just you get that weight behind someone's voice. It's when it works really well. Okay, how are we on the front? I think we need to go a little less on the front. The back's not too bad. Front, I think, needed. Yeah. That's kind of where that discussion was going to go. I didn't really have much. It's one of those things that had crossed my mind at work today, but I didn't actually put enough thought into it to make an entire discussion out of that. But yeah, if you want a character type in something, if you want to please me with something that has a character type in it, that's pretty much what it is. I like that. To me, that's one of those essential kind of character types. Somebody who has the experience, they've been there, they've seen it, and they may or may not be influential in kind of expressing that to the people around them. But at the same time, they also kind of realize just how young the people around you are when you have a character like that in there, which is also sometimes a good thing. Okay, I think we're getting there. I now need just a little bit more on the outside here. We are a half hour in. I figured I was going to be done like this, have the ears in and everything by this point. And trying to get this neck right and kind of match up is actually being more of a thing than I thought it was going to be. I still think Arn is probably like the best example of that kind of character. Really, Arn and Bato. One for video games, one for anime. Those like the two quintessential ones. Which is also why I have a model of Arn. He's just a really awesome character, which I don't think I've actually put him in this session yet. I'll have to find a way to bring him out. That one's awesome. I love it. It's so good. That was kind of that was getting around the point in time where I started finally, quote unquote, getting it on these as I went through. And things just kind of started working at that point a little more smoothly. I guess for video games, probably him and Ziggurat 8 / Jan Sauer / Ziggy from the Xenosaga series is probably the other one that I gravitate towards. Which the only bad part of him is he's, as a playable character in the game, Ziggy's not exactly one of the strongest characters in terms of like the movesets and all that they give him compared to the assortment of people that are around him. But as a character, I like him. He's really good. Again, he's another one who's been places, he's seen everything, he kind of knows what's going on, and you realize everyone else around him is like these just young kind of kid-like characters, or they kind of come across then as like kid-like characters just because of his own nature. Alright, some ears. Some ears. I'm doing is taking a little bit of this, put on there, realize that's gigantic. And as is usual, we kind of take this stuff and then have to shrink it down a lot. Take about half of that off because we're not going to need all of it. Now, do we have... Do I have a better, let's see here. No, they don't actually show the side of her head much better. Nope. 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 Well, I guess that's about going to be as good as we're going to get on ears. But yeah, no, she has very kind of rounded ears, and the lobes don't come down. The lobe just kind of dead ends into the head, kind of. And it's kind of very, hers kind of go back a ways. They don't really stick out. They're kind of more back. But as you can see, we kind of go from, take the eye kind of across, is kind of where the top of the ear comes, and then it kind of comes down towards the angle in here. So I can take, I think I'm getting close, but I just want a little bit more off of that. Alright, so we will detail this out further, but there's one. We are not done with it yet. I might as well, before I start doing that, it's easier to kind of get the two roughly the same size before we start doing the next stage of things. Good. All you can see are fingers in this shot. That's awesome. Okay, I think that's around the same size. You're kind of around the same thing. Bam. Look at that. We got ears. It's awesome. Let's make them look slightly more like ears. Okay, so first thing I want to do is I want to blend this edge. If for no other reason, then this actually is going to help attach this to the head. And this is why I wanted this to attach to the new stuff and not the old. So if we're making the faces, I don't want to put the face. Yeah, so when I'm doing this, the face part, you don't want it to go so far, you don't want it to be so thick that then when you do the ears on top of it, that it then hooks into it. Because again, if you're hardening that, now you need to attach this to something that's already hardened. And it's a little more of a hassle doing that. So if we can avoid that, that is better. Okay, so I'm going to start there. Let's do the same thing on this side. Am I on camera? Yes, I am on camera. Just making sure we're kind of aimed the right way. What I should see is, okay, we are about the same on them. Okay, I think you just need to go back just a hair. Okay, yeah, I'm feeling okay on that. I do feel nice this is wobbling far less than the other ones I've done, just because I made this block so much bigger this time than I had in the past. Now, because these little indents are smaller than I have done in the past, that's why the arms are having issues, which, if I can get these ears done quick enough, I would like to show how I'm going to solve that problem, because I would like to have this hardened, I would like to have the arms hardened. I want to have all this stuff hardened by the time I start the next segment, in the next session. So I am intending this to be just kind of a finish off kind of session. Get a number of these issues, or not issues, but a number of these areas we have been working on done, so that we can start the next part fresh. And the next one is, again, it's going to be, I know I could do the ammo stuff on the side. I think those are going to be probably the last things, just as like the finish off details. I do want to get this camo on, because then we can put the hat and hair on her afterwards. I don't need her to be bald the entire time. We can do better than that. Oh, come on. Okay, let's first make sure that's smooth out right at the seam. Let's see, let's come just a little bit. I want to make sure I'm kind of in here. You're kind of the wrong thing. What am I looking for? Looking for you. Just want to carve out. Now again, we're not dealing with a very thick piece here, but I do want to carve out a little something from this. So there is a little bit of care must be had in doing this. So you saw we started before. We did start with some thickness in there, but I didn't go nutso crazy on thickness, but we needed some just to give ourselves something to work with on this end. And usually we have a little piece kind of in the middle. I think this might be too small. If you can see it on my finger, I'm going to try to... Because usually there's at least a little something kind of... There we go, we have a little something going on with the ear. And I think with that I can kind of finish, if I need any more I can finish detailing this part off camera, because again I do want to get to the next part, and I see we're already actually over 40 minutes in. I don't know how that happened. Let's smooth this out a little bit. Nope, that's the piece I just put down. All right, good. Got that out. We're using the wrong side. They're two different sizes. I have a big one on that and a small little kind of ball at the end on this side. I'm 100% holding the head wrong, so my thumb is now on the neck part, which means I'm going to need to retouch up that neck afterwards, which is fantastic. But I think at this point I'll do that off camera. We've done enough of touching up on that early on. We don't need to keep doing that over and over and over on camera. You don't need to see that. I've put you through enough. Okay, we're going to do the same little thing. We're just going to add just a little bit of something inside there, which once again you may not be able to see on camera, is that little dude. There we are. I'm sorry, did I say we were doing that little dude? That was too big. Let's try that again with something a little more appropriately sized. Geez, what was I thinking? Okay. Get in there. Okay, so we have that. Now we need to go and fix these arms a little bit so they don't keep falling off. Because even if this one's not, what's happening is it's tilting down, and there's not much we can do on that. So what I'm going to do, at least not much with just the clay stuff and reforming things in here. No, it's going to take another structural element. So what I think I'm going to do is I have the one wire here. We're going to stick a second wire in this thing to come in so I can then do that. So I'm going to have if you're going in this way, I need you to, let's see, so it's, if I'm looking at it, this wire is going slightly downward angle, and I think part of this isn't sticking out far enough. The metal has probably come all the way to the back end of this, which is not ideal. But I've got my friend, the drill. This is a very nice drill. Spent a lot of money on this thing. I love it. I love it. It does all the stuff. We're going to make sure we're on drill setting and we're on 3. I was mixing concrete with the thin set with this before, so mixing thin set, we stick it to 1. On this, all we need is a 3. And it's going to be a slightly downward angle right around in here. Okay, does this fit? That does fit. Good. Good, good, good. So now, if you're going to be over there, we do not need this to stick out particularly far. You're going to be kind of in there, so actually you can stick out a little further than I thought you could. Let's try something like that. Okay, maybe a little shorter, little shorter. Now, if I get this thing right, what I can then do is I can glue this into here. And then I think we're golden after that point. Yeah, now with that in here, that's going to keep this from rocking. I'm going to do a little probably touch up on the arm now. I've been pushing this thing around. But that should hopefully keep this arm a little better off. And this one looks like it's generally straight in. Whoop. Let's go hit my computer. That's awesome. We're going to do the same kind of thing. Going down a little low right there. Sorry for the blowing here. Okay. Let's see, we have what's left over from the other one. It was not a very big piece to start with, so. Oh, we're going to need to cut that for sure. Okay. Got that out of the way. Now again, I haven't hardened these things. That's why I knew this was going to be an issue early on, which is why I've been kind of avoiding hardening these guys. So we have that, and that will. From here, I can just do a little playing. I can retouch up the edges on that. I can feel kind of the metal hitting the edge here, so I'm just going to build up the shoulder just a little bit more. But otherwise, no, that's really all we need to go through this time. The rest I can, like I said, I can now touch this up off camera. I just wanted to show you that is what I was going to be doing to try to restructure these arms so they actually finally stay in here for good. So, meanwhile, while I'm out, I'm going to go hard. I'm going to touch these things up just a little bit, kind of clean them up, make them look a little better. But otherwise, we're then going to be... Nope, not that one. We're going to go, like I said, harden this all up, have be good. So then next time when we come through, like I said, I could do these ammo things, but I think it's time to finally do this camo part. Now, it's going to look really weird without the actual camo paint on here. It's just going to look like sheets kind of going over. She's dressed as a ghost. It's October. We're going into Halloween stuff. But it's time to finally make Kai look like the Kai that we know in the game. And I think that's going to be a good improvement. But otherwise, no, we're getting there. We have a head, we have a neck, we have arms where they're supposed to be now. Neck feels a little bit long, but I'm not feeling too bad about that. Because it's going to feel shorter again once we get this coming up in there. The camo stuff's going to build up more mass on this area. So the neck's not going to look as long once that goes on. And again, if we want, she's going to have that hat going. So in the end, there's going to be a brow like that kind of going over. So the eyes are going to be hidden again. Just like the brow is hiding Bang's eyes when I was doing that the entire time. Once the hat goes on, that's going to be blocking out her eyes the whole way. But no, we have come a long ways so far. And we're kind of in the home stretch. It's just a couple more elements to go. It's really, what, 4 more elements. We have the camouflage, we have 1 ammo, we have the other ammo, hat and hair. That's it. All the main stuff is now done in the books. So we're getting close. We're getting close, and I'm getting excited. Hope you are too. And until we get to that point, well, enjoy.